We
Hey,
did.
weren't we calling it Midgard Morphs Round Table? Like,
It's
weren't we calling
it's
that?
it's it's the round table at Midgard Castle is what it is.
I want a
Yes. There
jacket.
you go.
We're taking votes on names. Actually, someone in the comments come up with a really creative name right now of what to call this. Okay, so for tonight's live, what we wanted to talk about was the Palmstreet app. For those people that are watching in the comments, Palmstreet is a new-ish app. It came out, well, it's been around for a while for plants, but reptiles were introduced to it last year, actually. I think around August they started introducing reptiles. And they weren't taking off super fast on there, but they've now got a lot of big sponsorships. Brian Cusco is sponsored by them and is really pushing them hard right now. We've seen Rice Reptiles on there. I know that Trap Talk is releasing a video about them and whether or not they think they're good for the hobby on the 3rd. So if you're on YouTube, definitely go and check that out. I think it'll be interesting.
No, it's not a bad idea.
But
Oh, no, it's
the other day, me and Ozark actually started this conversation where we were discussing whether or not you think Snake Discovery is sponsored as well. I haven't seen that one, but so lots of sponsorships. So on this app, there's a couple different options on there. You can sell your snakes on there. You can also auction them live. Their auctions run for 60 seconds at a time. It's very fast paced. You basically hold your snake up, hit start, everyone in the comments bids. It takes the money out of their account right away. You set up shipping. It's very, very streamlined. Some of the things we're seeing on it is snakes and a lot of geckos selling very, very quickly, but frequently well under market value. When you see them up closer to market value, I don't see them selling on there as much. We purchased our first snake on there from Rice Reptiles. We'll be getting them within this week. And definitely have some, like, I'll tell you, I have some, like, concerns about it myself, but I really want to, like, look at all of those. Now that I've done all of that, I'm Stacy, Midgard Morphs. Favorite project we're working this year is Ultra Male Clown. Ozark, do you want to go next? Introduce yourself. Oh, yeah, I guess I can mute.
Unmute. Okay, there we go. I'm Ozark Ball Pythons, formerly Ozark Ball Pythons. I'm Ozark Exotics now. My favorite project that I'm working right now is my Inchy Blade Clown to my Inchy Spot Nose Clown. And that's me.
Sweet. NKSC.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm trying to get my camera on. Okay, guys. I'm Nate. I'm with NKSC Reptiles. There's 4 of us in it. It's me, my brother, my daughter, and my fiance. My other brother's starting to join in a little bit, but my favorite project this year is probably my black pastel pied. And this is a mouthful, y'all. To my orange dream, super inchy, banana leopard, pastel fire, yellow belly, het pied.
And a
That's my
partridge in a
favorite
pear
for this
tree.
year. Yeah, yeah.
Cheever?
What's going on? So we're a small family-owned business. We don't really advertise a whole lot. Never use Morph Market. We just kind of reach out to people, and through business, it just kind of transfers. But I'd have to say ours would be, for the project, it's going to be a long one, but it's Wookiee, Shrapnel, Confusion, Clown, and either VPI or Desert Ghost. All in one combo.
Nice. It had to be your turn right when you coughed. Got to make it real complicated for it.
Leave it to him.
My name's Treve, so I run Kinky Link Ball Pythons. Just a small hobbyist. It's just kind of something I do on the side. It's just me having fun, working different things, and seeing what I can make. I'd say my biggest project this year, which is also a mouthful, is a black pastel, red stripe, pinstripe trick to a pastel inchy fire orange dream. So looking forward to seeing what's coming out with that one and working in the trick project or hurricane, since trick and hurricane and blitz are all the same thing.
That's awesome.
I guess it's my turn now.
Yep, it's your turn.
So me and my
Have the floor.
this. So we're gonna breed dolls at some point just because we can, and my wife wants them. We're gonna breed some Xanthic UPIs, and then our main project, if I can show you the transport bins because we're moving. Once she gets to weight, her.
She's so pretty.
So we're gonna breed her and my kind of fat male to get some captive emeralds one day, and that's gonna be kind of our main focus. Kind of one, cool, and two, if we can breed more captives, maybe she'll stop stealing them from the wild. So.
Nice. Okay, so kind of jumping straight into it. Who in here has used Palmstreet, heard of it, have any opinions on it? Feel free to jump in. Kinky, I saw your hand up. I feel like you'd be a good person to get it rolling.
Yeah, I've tried it. So as far as initial setup and making your account and everything on it, it's pretty straightforward and easy. You can host lives on there all the time. If you can go on there and sell your animals on your normal lives without having to be under the 60-second deadline. But you actually have to apply to do the live auctions. And at least as of late, it's been a pain in the butt. I haven't even been approved for it yet because every single time they have you answer a bunch of questions. One of the things you have to do is provide a picture of your husbandry setup. So all of your, either your tanks, if you're using tank setups, your enclosures, if you're doing geckos or chameleons, and then obviously with the snakes, you're going to have the rack systems. I don't know if it's something with their system or what it is, but it never seems to want to access my camera roll, even though they have the permission. So I haven't been able to get into it. I've seen kind of how it works. It's this 60-second just mayhem, and the thing that sucks about it is it's a 50-50 split. It's either you're going to do really well because you're going to have an animal on there that a lot of people want, and they've got 60 seconds to make it happen. So people are frantically going to be just throwing numbers out there, and potentially you have the chance of making some decent money out of it. But at the same time, you may have a guy get on there and make one bid, and then you're selling an animal that is worth $300-400, and next thing you know, it's being sold for, let's say, $105, just to throw a number out there. So I think it's going to end up being, I think it's going to hurt more than it's going to help, especially depending on what the market is and what people are wanting. I know there's a seller on there that gets on every once in a while. He does crested geckos, and I know that was one of their big selling points, is that in one live he did $50,000 in sales. But obviously that guy's got a ton of animals to move.
Mm-hmm.
But that's taking the hit on, say, a $5 or $500 animal and only getting $50 to $100 for it.
Exactly.
That's a huge risk, and that's putting a huge dent into the market for all the breeders that turn around and take them high-end snakes, and now you're getting them for $100-200.
Yes, but if you're selling on your own live, you don't have to abide by the auction sales. You can sell it for what you want.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I do see a comment down here from Caring that assuming Palmstreet takes part of it, yes, they take 6.9% of all of your sales as well.
That's on top of applicable sales taxes too. So they have to report all that stuff. But you're going to lose a tax on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, I don't think it's going to help. I think in terms of someone that has, a bigger breeder that's just got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of animals to move, it's going to help someone like that. But for people, smaller breeders like us that don't have a ton of animals, like I have 63, that's not going to help me. I mean, unless it's something where I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to accept taking the hit and just move these animals out so I can get them out from underneath me. Okay, fine. I'm making that exception. I'm accepting those consequences. But as far as like actually getting a fair value out of it, it's not going to help us at all.
Well, see, and we touched on this a little bit yesterday, Stacy, that's going to open up the floodgates for the flippers who don't
Yes.
have a lot of money involved in the snakes, don't care to make a bunch of money off of them. They just want to move the snakes for a little bit of profit.
And that's been a concern of mine, not only from a breeder standpoint on the having to take a hit on that and then possibly hitting the whole market as it goes. Because if someone's going on there and they're selling, yeah. So say they get on there and they're selling bells, like Sunflower's saying in the comments. So they're selling bells. Bells are going for $50 a pop. Are people coming to the breeders and paying an appropriate amount for them, or are they going to the people who are flipping them and selling them for $50 a piece on an auction? I mean, I feel like that's as that catches on. And I'll turn it over to someone else in a second. But my other concern is animal welfare and how this opens up the market to PETA coming in.
Right. I think TNM had something to say there for he was holding his hand up. I think he had something.
I just had a question because I haven't done it. But does anybody know what the percentage of cut is if you buy like through their buy now option?
Speak a little.
Say that again. You're real muffled.
I said, does anybody know what the percentage Morph Market takes if you hit like their buy now, like through their website now? What percentage they take from that?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, so 6.9% of sales plus there's sales tax on your customer, all of that. So this is all also reportable. This is not like this isn't you're paying someone through Venmo or anything. This is reportable income.
As soon as that auction's done for that animal, that money comes out of your account. You have to fully be registered before you're even in it.
Yep.
If you hit bid, that money is locked in unless somebody else bids over you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something where you can
my thoughts
get
on
the bid and then it gets pulled right out from under the person selling the animal as soon as it's over. You can't do that.
Yep.
My thoughts with like you guys were talking about the flippers, okay, selling bells, $50 a pop. Okay, so for example, these flippers that we're talking about, they're not all bad, but a lot of these, they don't care about the health of the animal. They don't care about any of that. They're just trying to
100%.
move this animal. And that's what's going to kill our market as breeders. Okay, so I mainly sell local or through live on an app, you know. But so when I sell local, it's to a pet store or to my friends. And my friends talk to other people who come back, like just like Cheever said, you know what I mean? So I haven't had to use Morph Market. So I haven't had to do any shows yet, but I'm only 9 clutches in. You know what I'm saying? But those 9 clutches have all sold. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
through without Morph Market or anything. And that's what's really going to hurt us as breeders. Like you said, a blue eye, I mean, at a show, they're going three to $500. You know what I mean? And then you've got Palmstreet selling them at $50 and people are going to find that out. And then they're going to flood in to buy them at $50. And like you said, they're going to get them and then they might flip them. We don't know what they're going to do with them. So that's my take on the flippers being in that, because me and Cheever both know a few flippers, and the flippers might be into doing that. One's from Pennsylvania. I bought one from him. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie. I bought an animal from him. It's a leopard inchy mahogany ball python. I bought it for $100 bill. You know what I mean? On Morph Market on New Year's Eve sale. You know, but I found out that he was a flipper, and that I am lucky that I got the animal that I was told that I was sold. So that's where you have flippers like not knowing genetics and just saying, hey, this is that. And I mean, I totally got screwed when I first got into ball pythons. So I mean, I understand the getting screwed. So you need to know your genetics. Like
Mhm.
that's how I feel about it, honestly. It's gonna hurt us as an industry.
And like I want to follow you on that. Like I agree. I worry it's going to hurt us as an industry. It's going to drop market values on the animals. We also tried to sign up for it just to kind of check it out and see what it kind of looks like behind the scenes, right?
Right.
Um, and that's been a complicated thing. We figured out submitting the picture and that stuff by using a computer. But then I have no idea what happened to our application. Like someone's got my information floating out there. I don't know.
Mm,
Like I'm like,
Well,
who did I
and
just submit my ID to? I have no fucking idea. Um,
right.
but
another thing that's going to cause that this will cause in the long run, if it's successful, is it's going to cause me to stop breeding pets. I'm going to stop breeding bells. I'm going to stop breeding albinos. I'm going to stop breeding all of that stuff because there's no value in it anymore.
Yeah. You'll
So
have to hop
I'm
into
going to,
puzzle, monsoon,
yep,
stuff like
I have to
that. You
hop
know what I
into stuff
mean?
like that. But even then, the price of those are going to come down as a result
Yeah.
of everything else coming down too. So
It's
what
almost
will
like
end up being, yeah, what will end up being is we'll have all of those higher end snakes selling for what the pet snakes are selling for now in 3 5 years.
And
You
those
know,
snakes are
so
super hard to even hit on the visual or the gene
yep,
combo. That's what
yep.
makes
yeah,
them
And all it
worthwhile.
hmm
all it does, yeah, and all it does is yeah, it makes it more affordable for me to get into those projects, but
All
it
the time
it
spent is
just
wasted.
yeah, all
hmm
the time that I've spent doing what I'm doing now is moot and not of any importance anymore, except for me and my experience. That's all I've gained from it at that point. And so there's nothing we can do to stop this. We just have to figure out how to adapt to it.
yeah.
Well,
And
look at the morph
go
market
ahead.
auction. That's
Hmm.
already
Yeah.
destroying the market big
hmm
time.
Like
Yeah, unless you're selling local to a pet store or to your friends that know the value of that even as a pet that are gonna pay your price,
But
then yeah, that's gonna crash
but
our market.
Well,
but
then there's
even then,
quality
And
versus
what
you
pet
what
quality.
yeah, but
yeah,
even then, what happens when all these pet stores figure out they can get $50 bells off of there, you know? And
mhm.
then the
yeah,
price but once the attractiveness of it hits, maybe they'll expand the time on the auction and let the prices go up because there's so many people wanting to bid. So you never know. It
right,
could roll around and be a benefit, or it could roll around and just destroy the market completely.
Person just brought up a good
right,
point
right.
about getting a reptile that's illegal in their state. That wouldn't be on the breeder. That would be on the person that buys the animal. You would get
Yeah,
slapped with that
yeah,
fine. You should know your
yeah,
state laws and get any permits that you are required to have that animal.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, if
It's
you're doing
it's
it just to be like something like the black market and be cool, it's not so cool, especially
yeah.
once you get busted.
Yeah,
Um,
Good.
and somebody brought up a point on there, it might open the door for illnesses and things like that. I don't think that would be the case because even it shows you take that risk. You take a risk of bringing something home that was treated the day before for mites and wasn't treated properly, and you got a whole, you whole nother mess. Or
Yep.
you can bring one home that's got an RI and not know it yet, So
That's
I
where I was
don't,
talking about the flippers as well.
yeah,
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 so
I
that'll
don't
go
know.
either way with those. Like,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that whether that it's at a reptile show, whether it's on Palm Street, whether it's a morph market auction, however, there's always that risk. That's why we're always saying quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. We're like, even if I trust my animals, you shouldn't trust them. You should quarantine for your own animal's sake. Like, we say that all the time to everyone. So
Yep.
so no matter what, like you get an animal off there, quarantine it, right? Um, My other thing that I'm kind of noticing, and I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing. So when we're talking about all these like corporate sponsorships that we're seeing out there with these big names that are definitely like hitting not only the consumer market but the breeder market, right? That go on YouTube and maybe watch it. I don't know about you guys, but like I'll have freaking snake YouTube just playing in the background as I'm working on stuff in the day because whatever, because I can turn it on the TV. And so these faces come across talking about this and promoting it. Are they selling their own animals there?
I think that would
That I
depend
don't
on the
know.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the person. I think
Yeah.
like so you said you bought from Rice. I
Yes.
met Rice in person. I met him
Mm-hmm.
at Tinley. I met him at
Yep.
Tinley and he has so many animals. Yes, he's selling his own animals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And no, so not on whether or not they're selling their own animals. I trust like
Oh.
that they are
Oh.
the animals
Are
that
they
Okay.
Rice is
selling?
selling.
Sorry.
Period.
No, I'm more
Yes, yeah.
seeing like so we're seeing like they were saying Snake Discovery is sponsored by them, Brian Cusco sponsored by them. I don't know who's going to be sponsored by him next or if anyone else is, but I don't know that I've seen them on there auctioning off their animals at these low prices. I see it being pushed to the smaller breeders to auction off our animals, but I'm not
Right.
necessarily seeing it on
Maybe.
these higher levels where it's like,
Thanks.
and that's a concern to me when something's really heavily pushed to the small businesses, that we get convinced it's a good thing, but does it destroy
Yeah.
our business while helping someone else's?
Yeah. What they're sponsored? What's in it for them if they're not selling on the site itself? There's questions in that.
Mm-hmm.
I would never
I
be
agree.
sponsored. Just morally, I would never be sponsored by a product that I don't use. If I don't use it, I can't, in good conscience, come on here and say, "Hey, look at this, use this," and then set it aside and never touch it myself. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
100%.
so
Yeah.
I don't know.
This
Are there, like, kind of flipping the script here, are there any benefits? Are there ways that this coming into the hobby is going to be helpful? Is there ways that we as breeders, the people in the comments, either as breeders or consumers, pet owners, can use this in a way that benefits the hobby without causing harm, without dragging PETA in and all of a sudden having new legislation passed? Because that's always a fear with reptiles, right? That someone does something stupid and we all suffer because of it.
Well,
How
that's
like
actually a good point.
yeah, like if you're watching people
Let's hope
flip
they're somewhat
animals
like
that
Morph
quick and
Market.
hmm?
Like, you know what I mean? How Morph Market, so like a lot of people have been stomped out by Morph Market, taken out. You're not allowed here. You know what I mean? They know you're doing it wrong. What if they're even more strict in Morph Market? Like they want a picture of your husbandry. They want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure your stuff is good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
What if that extra security for us as buyers, that
Can't
might be
always
a
see much.
positive. Right. And another positive with Ozark saying, yeah, that can get people like us into like good projects that we wouldn't be able to afford through Morph Market at regular price. You know what I mean? So, but that also puts us in there, and then the price of that goes down once we get it to breeding size and we breed it. It's already been hammered.
Right. And
So,
and and we have to stick together too as a group. We have to support each other. We have to share our customers. If I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
a project and Stacy's not, and Stacy gets a request, she could send him to me, or she can send him over here to NKSD, or wherever.
yep,
Yeah.
In that respect, we can keep our customer bases happy without having them go somewhere else. you know. So
right. I agree.
I
I
think
agree.
what
That's
we're
Go
gonna
ahead.
see with this website or this app, I think in the short term it's going to be beneficial for people that are getting into this community. People that are just getting into ball pythons and want to breed, or someone that just wants to get a really badass looking snake for cheap. Short term, it's going to work. Long term, it's going to
Yes.
screw everybody. because
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you firsthand, it did. I just vended a show this weekend, and I can tell you the twofold of it. Bells and bananas were selling like frickin' rice cakes at every frickin' show I've ever been to, and it was the least sold animal at the expo this weekend.
Yep.
Pies are now what's being sold. Albinos are being sold. I would not be surprised if Palmstreet it has some sort of hand in that because people are able to go buy these bells at $50 a pop. People are getting the word on it, and then they're going to the shows and they're seeing that the actual value of bells is $250, $300, $350, and
Mm-hmm.
now they don't want to buy it because they can't get it for the $50 that all their friends got it for on Palmstreet. So long term, it's not going to help us at all. In the long term, it's going to hurt. Like someone's going to get into a zebra or something like that for next to nothing, where one of us has been working the zebra project for the last 3-4 years trying to make what we want that ends up being a $2,000 animal, and somebody scooped it up for $150 on Palmstreet.
Yep.
And have to do nothing more than buy it. And then by the time
Right.
you get to enjoy the satisfaction of working that gene, building it up, raising up the offsprings, and being able to breed them and see that visual form happen, that snake's not going to be worth anything.
Yep.
It's
Right.
going to hurt. And I mean, I literally, and it's not trying to be a bragging point or anything, but I had the best prices in the show. I ran a 50% off sale because I'm trying to move out of California and I want to take as little as I can with me. I had 50% off every single animal. I had $1,400 animals listed for $700. I had $500 animals listed for $250. I had multiple people come and tell me you have the best prices in the show, and I sold one $50 snake. And I watched the guy directly across from me sell 15 ball pythons basically at full price. And I just chalk that up as me not having what people are looking for, which is fine, and I understand that. But it just shows that when you can get animals for next to nothing on a 60-second auction app, it hurts the seller because they accept the fact they're going to take a hit, but they don't know what kind of hit they're going to take. And then two, it's hurting every other seller out there because you're never going to get the value of your animal ever again.
Right. One thing that I don't know that these sellers on Palm Street, I'm sure some of them are, but for most of those apps, even on Morph Market, I don't know that you can get the direct support that like if they buy off of me, I don't sell on Morph Market. So they're buying directly from me. They're going to have my phone number. If you have a problem, I don't care. You call me and we'll work it out. If I sell you an animal and within 2 or 3 weeks something happens, and you can show me that you were treating it properly and you had good husbandry, I will replace that or I will give you your money back. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you there's not one person on Palm Street that's going to do that for you.
Well,
At least
we
not
do.
right now.
At least not now.
We
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do Morph Market. We don't do any of that. It's through
No,
just
I don't do Morph
reputation
Market, none of
and
that. Yep.
people hearing of us. And that's created us over the years of doing it. And honestly, our hatchlings fly out faster than we can hatch them.
It's crazy actually. Locally where I live, and it also depends on where you live, guys. So where you live depends
Yes.
upon your sales. So me
Hmm.
and Cheever, we have a buddy. His name is Wrapped Up Reptiles. He's out of Charleston, West Virginia, and he just did a show. Okay, and he literally is asking people if they have anything available that they're looking to get rid of or get out of and to buy more for the next show because he's sold out. You know what I'm saying? And he don't even have enough babies and he has a lot of snakes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So a lot depends on your name,
Hmm.
what you've got, your reputation, all of that. You know what I mean? And if you've got a good reputation locally, online, in front of public, everything, and you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? But if
Hmm.
people think, hey, this dude's just a dick, he's trying to make money, breed these animals, da da da, you know what I mean, and don't care about them, then you're not going to get that business.
So some of the things that I was trying to think of, because I was thinking of some of these questions like before we got on here, so we could really like dig into it of things that could be positive, right? Like overall, I have a pretty firm opinion at this point that I think this hurts the market. All in all, I think it hurts the market. It's bad for the hobby, those kind of things. The positive things on it that I see is that there are people on there doing lives communicating similar to how we're doing here, right? Which I think is something we already have on TikTok, but they do have the benefit that they can talk directly about prices of animals, that they don't have to hint around about what's happening, that their account doesn't get flagged saying, oh, you're selling some sort of service. And so it feels a little more free in that way, that it's still having that live streaming connecting to people part.
Mm-hmm.
But it does allow you to talk very openly. So there's some things that I go, as a social media platform, there's some interesting things there, right? And if all of the breeders decided not to undercut themselves and decided to use it in a way that was like, hey, we can sell our animals on here, but we don't have to take this huge hit, I think it could be a really good thing. However,
Literally.
this is this is the reptile hobby, or really any kind of business. Anytime someone sells something for one thing, another person's going to mark it down $100. The next person's going to mark it down. Yeah, they're going to compete,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And so that competition is always going to happen. Where the competition becomes a problem is when people bottom out the competition so much that it's like thousands of dollars difference between the two, that it's like that's not even comparable. Like if someone buys okay, so it's no secret I sell my normals for $150. That's my baseline price, right? It's
Don't have
okay
to
if
get
someone
it.
else, huh?
They don't have to get it from you.
No, they don't have to get it from me. If they want some like something at a lower price, they'll go to someone else. I offer, that I will have your snake on frozen thawed. I will have it ready. Like I
It's
offer
taken
some
care
things.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Healthy.
but I'm willing to set my price a little bit higher with that because I believe that's the best thing for the market. I think it's the best thing in general to value the animals. That doesn't mean that I expect anyone else to fall in line and do that same thing, right?
Nope.
Because I think it's also fair to say I can sell this normal for $25 and get it into a home right away because I'm not going to use it in my collection. I'd rather it go into a home.
Well,
as
at that
quickly as
point,
possible.
you're just chasing the dollars rather than care for the animal.
Yeah, and so
That's
Like,
a
I
big
think-
difference between breeders is people that actually care for the animals, like all of us.
mhm,
We're not in it to chase the money.
yeah.
I mean,
mean,
don't
is
get me
anyone
wrong.
here
Making
like
making money is
independently
nice,
wealthy?
but it's not everything.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, most people that do this spend more than they make. And then
Oh,
when you
yeah.
hit the market like that, it's a hit on
Yeah.
us. When all these
100%.
people that are flippers and just, oh, let's get rid of it. I got it for $25. I'm going to sell it for 30 just so I can make quick $5 and move it. All these
Mhm.
people start following suit and they're literally hurting the entire market and screwing everybody. I personally
Well,
will never
and
support auction or anything like that just because it's going to screw all of us in the end. And then what's the point of us doing this? Those projects that take
yeah,
10, 20 years to even hit, worth $5,
Yeah.
hypothetically, but it's
But
pointless at that point.
yeah,
Sydney,
I mean,
Australia in the chat. What's up? Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, totally
no,
random.
you're good. I saw it too,
yeah.
and I was like, cool.
JS Reptile said when he decided to start breeding, the money wasn't his main motivation or reasoning for doing it. I don't think anybody in this roundtable had money on our mind when we first started it.
Nope.
When I first started, it was it was a learning experience for me. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn how to do it, and I wanted to learn how to do it properly. That's why I got onto TikTok to begin with Mooney and JR and a bunch of other people to see how they're doing it and
Mm-hmm.
what can I do to improve what I'm doing to make my animals healthier, and give them better conditions, things like that. So nobody in here, I don't think, ever started going, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
No.
No, I
Shiny
knew I was
object.
going to lose $1 million.
I just want to be able to pay bills and get by like everyone else. I mean, honestly,
Yeah. I
if
mean,
if
that's
if
the
my
goal.
collection, if what I do pays to feed my collection, I will be happy.
Yep.
It
Yep.
doesn't.
mhm.
Mine
It
has.
doesn't
I
yet.
mean, mine so far, like it pays to feed mine, but not for the first whole year I was growing them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
But now they're starting to pay for my mice, my rats, stuff like that. But
yeah.
I'm also breeding now, so that helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that we all in this round table. I mean, I know five of the six, and I'll go ahead and say T&M Noodles. You know what I mean? I don't know him that well, but I'll get to know
He's
you.
cool.
We all have
hmm
fire in our collections, and we're going to be making some high quality animals. Okay, and that's where we set the standard, just like you said, a normal, no lower than 125. I mean, yeah, you can go and get them for $50, $75 on Morph Market if you want to,
hmm
but that's that person just trying to
Well,
move that animal.
Yeah.
with what you just said though, when you buy a snake from me, you get the snake and me.
Yep.
You get
Yep,
you
yep.
get help
Oh
from
boy.
me.
24/7. Like, text me whenever.
Yeah,
Like, you got a
exactly.
question, you got an
Exactly.
issue, let me know.
Yeah.
And honestly, up to like if it's a hatchling, like I'll give them like 6 months with that hatchling. You know what I'm saying? To replace it for something else they want that maybe a hatchling at that time. You know what I mean? That way, like it gives it a chance to make sure it's in the full clear. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been sold adults and they flip over in the next month because they were just old and
Hmm.
bred out. You know what
Yep.
I
hmm
mean? So that's a quick sale. Go ahead. Sorry, Midgard.
Oh no, you're fine. But that's exactly the thing, and I think that's the thing that they're really missing out with all of the auctions. Like we did one auction on one snake, and it sold to someone from on here for $5, right? And I'm happy that it got
Yeah.
into a good home. Um,
Ouch.
but but that's what I can say is I'm happy that it went into a good home, and this was a and this was one of the snakes that we had taken in from Red Queen Exotics, right? That she was moving, needed someone to take over her collection and just get them into homes. So for us, it wasn't, we weren't going, we needed to make money on it. But at $5, it's a little sad to see an animal go for that. Thankfully, we know who has that animal, great person, all of those things, right? So feel
Yeah.
good about that.
Yeah, that's the only time I really make good deals like that. So I have a friend locally that just bought from me. He bought a normal. He paid 150 bucks or 120 bucks, 120 bucks. And well, he actually paid 150, but I gave him a tank and like the full setup, the heat pad, thermostat,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And that's because he's locally. He knows that I want to breed it when he grows up and he'll get a new hatchling when those babies come out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a win-win for me. It's a win-win for him. He got a nice animal. You know what I mean? It's a triple het. It's triple het for clown, pied, and lav. You know what I mean? So I plan on using that in the future, but it's growing right now. So I sold it to him for a decent price. I'm going to use it, and then he'll get a new baby that's even nicer for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, I
And
definitely do
See,
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
one thing
Now,
I wish. Go ahead, Stacey. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. I'll just go quick and then
Yeah, go.
straight to it. Auctions are great from a buyer's perspective. Like I'm seeing in the comments, like, oh, I've gotten these great deals and all those things. Absolutely. They're great from a buyer's perspective, but they're bad from a market perspective. They're bad for the
Right.
hobby as a whole. Like individually,
Yes.
sure. If I see a ultra male clown out up for $250 on auction, um, I'm gonna buy the ultra male clown for $250 without thinking about it and celebrate all the way home.
Yep.
However,
Right.
then I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna go, well, what does this mean to the value of the projects I'm working? that have
that
taken
you're
years.
gonna produce. Right, right.
Yeah, so I'm
I
like,
agree.
so
See,
that's where it becomes problematic to the hobby. And that's where I think we run into stuff going for cheaper and cheaper and cheaper
Yep.
until I noticed someone earlier in the comments saying if stuff starts going for that cheap and people have all these snakes, then people start releasing them. Then we get new laws.
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
That's the
Hmm.
yep.
issue is over flooding the community with snakes, guys. And that's what's gonna happen. You know how
It's
Florida
already
has all
to
the
that
laws?
point.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Florida has all those laws about the berms and it's
Hmm.
berms, right? Yeah, I
Yep,
mean,
worms,
people are getting paid
reefs,
to bring them in.
anacondas, iguanas,
You know what I mean? Catch them in the
hideous.
wild, bring them in, get paid. Like they're getting paid more
Hmm.
to bring that animal in than someone would to sell that animal.
Yep.
You know what
See
I mean?
what
So,
what I would like to see on this platform is for TikTok to develop some form of an auction add-on for this, where we during our lives can start it up, run an auction through the TikTok, pay the fees, whatever. I'm okay with paying fees on auctions. I don't have a problem with that.
yeah,
But we control it. I can set my starting price. I can set the time limit. Okay, I'm going to auction this snake off and it has to sit for 10 minutes before I sell it to to that person. I have a reserve though. And if you don't meet my reserve, then it doesn't sell. But I know there's a lot involved in that, but it's just like everything else. TikTok's going to have to get their cut or it's not going to happen. That's why they're so strict on you can't say dollars, you can't openly sell stuff as a brand without going through their store and things like that. I get it. They got to make their money, but it would eliminate a lot of these startups happening if all the people that are mainstream on this app could do that on this app. We wouldn't have to go anywhere else. We just do it right here.
yeah, because some of us have upwards of like 10,000 followers, so you're gonna have people buying all the time.
Y'all, yeah, keep rubbing that in. God.
Yeah.
And so that
What?
is the thing. So Palmstreet is very much like that. So I do see people starting to build their communities and that kind of stuff on there,
Hmm.
right? So I do actually see that. So that's where I think are the pros with it. Is that community building? Because you are seeing a lot of people come over from like YouTube that haven't had like this TikTok experience where they're quite as involved with each
Right.
other because I feel like TikTok is more interpersonal, right?
Yeah,
I
Rather
just
than
don't
just
want to have
content
to start
creation.
over.
I don't either. I don't want to have to start over.
I mean, I don't want to have to. I worked really hard for what little followers I have. I just don't want to have to do it again.
Hmm. And so
So
with like, go ahead. I think someone else was
no,
talking.
no,
So
no,
Pure
you're fine.
Pure
Go ahead.
Country said Palm Street is getting bigger and bigger.
it is. And so that's exactly where I go. It like I still think even with those aspects, that social media aspect to it, that community building, I think there's a lot of risk involved with it for the animals, for the hobby as a whole. Um, it will fade. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if they're going away. I think that they started and I've seen them build steam. And now that people are starting to have
Palm
communities
Street
over
was
there.
at Dallas and ARBC, so they were at a
Yeah.
reptile expo.
Yeah.
They were
Like,
Well,
they
and
were
they
at
also they
Hollywood this
go ahead.
weekend where I was. They're at every single. They've got people that work for them that are at every show pushing it. Like
Well,
Oh
having
I'm
people
going
my.
to a show. I'm going to a
in the
show here
valley,
in.
all of them.
I'm going to a show here Saturday here in St. Louis. We're going to see if they're there. So
Yeah.
they're pushing like a red line pushed when they
Yeah,
first
they're
started
they're
shipping.
pushing hard.
Mm-hmm.
well, and what they went straight for the big guns in the industry too, and offered them sponsorships to push them. So
Uh-huh.
that also helps when you've got a million people that watch your YouTubes and all they're
Yep.
doing is throwing out Palm Street every third word. You can't help but that platform grow. Even if
Yep,
it's people
because
just going to check it out, it's making it bigger just by checking it out.
Yeah.
And
um
that's the thing.
Who
is
did you say? Sorry, go ahead.
we're helping. We're inadvertently helping them now. Like, you know, we're
Yeah.
using this
Mhm.
live to talk about it. The the negatives and the positives of it, which I think we've pretty much kind of shown it's got all negative. But look at how many people have come in the comments and said, "What's Palmstreet? What's Palmstreet?" Now, how many of
Yeah.
them will look and check it out? Like, as long as it's being talked about, it's gonna grow, and
Yeah.
it's crappy because that is the topic of conversation. So it's not like we can not use the name, but it's gonna get out there one way or another. It's just how do we get the picture out there that shows like, hey, if you guys continue to use this, you're gonna hurt everyone, not just yourself, but you're gonna hurt the whole industry as a whole. And then it just comes down to do people actually give a damn whether or not they're hurting it?
So,
But
what
then on the flip
about
side of that, it's nothing but it's nothing but negative for us. It's nothing but positive for the buyers because the
except
prices
for one
just
thing?
go down.
Um, like we were talking about a minute ago, it is all positive for the buyers until they start letting snakes out because they're too big or they don't want them anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's being regulated, and then we're regulated as a whole community
Right.
because of these buyers not being breeders like us.
Yeah.
What's up, Midgard?
We're kind of in the last 10 minutes of this because I want to keep it, so that we're not getting out of control and taking everyone's nights. And I know everyone has their own lives to do as well. So within the last 10 minutes, I wanted to break into some of the questions that we're getting. So this is a
Okay.
great time. If you have questions in the comments, drop them. And maybe we'll just rapid fire, like first question I'll answer, Ozark, if you want to answer the next one, Nate, and down the line. And then if you can't answer it, just say pass to the next person. And that way they're getting a variety of opinions too on things.
Sure.
So first question, so I'm looking at one from Carrie. What is one change I would make to Palmstreet to make it something I would want to use? I would truthfully, if it was up to me, I'd eliminate the auction element and just allow people to sell their animals at market value on there, or at what they've determined the animal is valued at, and get rid of auctions entirely in the reptile industry.
Mm-hmm.
100% agree.
You can. Palmstreet does allow you to list the animals on a regular for sale ad. So, like, I have two of mine on there, and it's listed at market value. The auctions are what I would say the downside of it is, but you can list it just like a regular for sale ad under your profile.
Yeah.
Tac Boss has a good point in the comments. I love this as a hobby, but I need return on my investment. I spent too much money to just ignore it. And with Palmstreet, I feel that's going to bring that down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why
Yep.
supporting something
Sorry,
like that
next
is going to be
question.
the downfall of the industry.
Ozark. Sorry. Ozark. Micah asked, how did you learn morphs?
I am still learning morphs. I have great teachers, as in Cheever, Kinky Link. They know a lot about the morphs and how to identify. I started learning morphs by going to Morph Market and looking at the traits. They have a traits link there that lists all the known traits, and you can go in. It gives identifiers, descriptives, the whole thing. That's how I started to learn. Um, it's easier to learn traits when you work with them. If you don't work with those genetics, then it's hard to identify. So that's why I go to people like Cheever and Kinky, who have a whole different set of genes than I have, and so that helps me identify more stuff. They're like, look, see how this does that, see how this does that, see how and being more hands on with it or visually on it really does help a lot.
We got a question. I'm going to shoot this one to you, Nate, and then if you can't answer it, that's totally fine. Do you know if there's any age verification requirement for buyers on Palmstreet?
Nope.
Yes.
Okay, I can answer that one really quick. So there's no age verification for buyers, which is a concern for me.
Yes.
That
But
sounds
a
like a
lot
big
of
problem.
places, huh?
That sounds like a
Yeah.
big problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can definitely, if you walk away from your phone and the auction is open, your kids can bid. It does not second make you
God,
enter a
no.
password.
Look how many
Mm.
kids are out there and snag mom and dad's credit card and order stuff off of Amazon all the time. Now you're going to be taking a chance of a kid with mom and dad's card buying a snake, and then come to find out there's just some
Yeah.
seven,
That's
and now you got
that's
to
a
sit
that's
or deal with the parents.
yeah,
And
that's
our
a
son
whole
has
nother
some.
problem than buying 10,000 Roblox bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the
Our
same
son
thing.
tried
You're
to
going to be dealing
click
with
the inquire to buy on that $65,000 Ultramel Sunset the other day, and I was like, "You got bougie taste, kids. You're gonna need to get a job." Like, from Viper Boa Cheever, what's one thing as breeders or future breeders you think we could do to help the market?
Well, honestly, like what we've been discussing, the whole auction deal, we're gonna kill the market doing that. Anybody that supports it, anybody that does the auctions, you're undercutting everybody, and therefore, the market's gonna drop for every kind of snake that's out there. That's just a fact. But
I've never bought an auction snake except for when Stan's wife passed away. I bought
that,
an auction snake because it was a benefit, but that's
that's a
it.
different scenario.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't buy just
But
to
yeah,
buy
I can
pretty.
admit I've never, yeah, no, never.
You honestly, you're spending a few $100s for a low-end visual. It's not the greatest quality. There's a reason why there's only certain snakes that ever hit auction. You're not going to
Right.
see those ridiculous high-end, clean, crisp patterns
Ultramel
on a high-end
clowns
snake
and
on an
like,
auction unless there's a huge reserve cap on it. And if you don't hit that
Mhm.
cap, guess what? You're not getting it.
yep,
Why would you ever want to invest in crap quality into a personal business that you're starting with your own family and name backing it? I don't know about you, but if I open up a store, I want to make sure I have the greatest quality I can get. Because
Yeah.
I'm putting my name,
And
my family, my reputation on the line to back that.
Well, and that's the other side of it. Us as sellers, we need to be setting the market value and holding it. Like I've used the auctions. Don't get me wrong. I've bought stuff off the auctions that kind of worked for me when I was first getting into this, and I've sold on the auctions. But I set my standard for my pricing. Like I had a snake that I knew, hey, the lowest I'm willing to take is this amount, and I've tried doing like starting bid, and I set the starting bid at what the lowest I was willing to take was, and I ended up selling that snake for $5 over it. I was willing to accept that, but at the same now I just do reserves, and if you don't hit my reserve, I don't sell the snake, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't have to sell it. But if we are going to use that auction, we need to be willing as sellers to try to hold a higher standard of value on it, other than just saying, I'm just going to offload it and I get what I get, and I don't care what that's going to do to the rest of the market. Because I've had customers come in at shows and be like, oh, you have a so-and-so, you're asking $250 for it? Yeah, that's what they're going for. Oh, well, I just saw one sell for $75 on Morph Market the other day on auction.
go buy it.
But look at the quality of it.
Go buy it.
Go buy it, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get one for $75, by all means, go for it. More power to you.
Yep, 100%.
That's not fair market value on that animal. And I understand in an auction you're not going to get fair market value. Sometimes you may even get over market value just because you have that desirable of a snake that gets into a bidding war. But we still need to be able to say, like, hey, it's an auction. We at least want to get as close to market value as possible so that we can keep the value up. Otherwise, we're just undercutting ourselves.
But is it healthy? Does it have
No, you
anything with
cannot
it?
breed a champagne with a spider. Sorry, you cannot
no.
breed a champagne with a spider. Go ahead.
There was one question, and I'm going to ask it to everyone because I know my mods were like all over this trying to suss out the situation. Someone in the comments says they have king snakes, was asking if we had any unalived snakes that available for food. I
Wrong
don't.
community for that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I do.
I won't block someone
No,
for
you got to
asking
get
for
a
food
hold of
for
the
a
big
big snake, but
breeders,
I
the
will
big
just tell you, like,
breeders.
yep,
Yeah.
wrong place.
If you get a rat,
Yeah.
man, just because they can eat snakes doesn't mean you got to constantly feed them snakes for a meal.
Yep.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah. I
Let's
don't
see
have.
for kinky.
There's probably a reason why that snake
I
died.
preserve mine that passed away, actually.
Yeah.
I preserve them.
Yeah, I've got some that have passed away. Those ones they're special. So when we buy a house, they're gonna get buried, and that's where they're gonna spend their days.
Okay, so for kinky, do you think, and this is from PMF, I'm going to reword it a little bit just to make it a little bit easier on a question. Do you think there's a difference between what's happening on Palmstreet and what's happening on Morph Market auctions already going on?
Yes.
Big time. Yeah, big time. You know, Morph Market gives you a larger time frame, which gives bigger chance for that value or what you're going to get for that snake to go higher. Palmstreet is 60 seconds, and 60 seconds is it. And being that I haven't done one of the 60-second auctions, I don't even know if like you can set the starting bid on it or not, or if it just starts at 0 and it goes to that. So
I know that they can do starting bids. So I have seen the starting bids. I have seen people take some heat for starting their bids too high. And I've also seen lychees go for less than $200 on there, which is
yeah, and those are $800 animals.
Well,
yeah.
you
I
wanna
saw
start
that
a-
and I almost bought one because I was like, "Is this seriously happening right now?"
well, do you
I'm
want to
like-
start an auction for a $5,000 animal at $5?
No,
No,
absolutely not.
I'm not about to lose that.
Okay,
I
let's see.
think Morph Market doesn't, as much as it's hurting us, it's not hurting us to the level that Palmstreet is going to or already is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's reserve
Looking for
caps
one
where you
for
can
you.
make it so it's actually worth doing it, that's one thing. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you don't even hit the reserve cap most of the time. And you could have one of the top cleanest visuals of that specific snake, and you're still not going to get it because it's an auction.
I have a
Mhm.
question myself.
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So I've never used the app. I have downloaded it, tried checking stuff out, tried finding rice reptiles. They had a live one night. It was impossible for me to find them because of all the plant stuff. I couldn't find any reptile stuff. I found maybe one crested gecko thing. But so my question is, so you know how Morph Market you have a store about your store. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
All your policies. What's the policies there? What if you get a snake that's dead? Are they supposed to replace that? There's a lot of
That is
questions
a good
there on.
question. Like,
That's what I just thought about when I walked out of the room. I was like, what if you get one that's dead? Hopefully you get it from someone reputable. I mean,
because
I don't know if there's a store policy there.
the fact
I
that
think
the
that
money
goes to the
processed
individual.
through the website, like if they show, okay, money was paid, shipment arrived to FedEx, you picked it up, your ID was given. Sorry, the animal was dead when it got there. Sucks to suck. I have no idea.
Personally,
Yeah.
however you run your business, that's how you should treat it. If
Mhm.
you have a 30-day or a month gap, you have 2 hours to contact me from arrival to picking it
Yep.
up to let me know how it is. If I don't hear from you within those 2 hours, after that, I am no longer responsible. If I hear from you within those first 2 hours, if anything happens to that animal in a month, that's on me. After that, that's on what you do.
And so
Remind
with
me
the
not to buy
shipping,
from you
and I
because it's
see
going to
your
take me 3
country-
hours to get home.
There's exceptions.
Yeah, so pick your country. I see that yeah, they're for sure shipping through Redline or Morph Market or wherever they're going through, right?
Yes,
do
you
know
get ID'd when you.
if
Sorry.
there's a place where they can actually put their store policies? Because one of the big things that helps protect us as breeders and maintains our reputations is that we clearly list what our store policies are, right? Like I have the same thing, that it's within 2 hours. So if you don't if you pick up the animal and then you wait 5 hours, or like, okay, so maybe you wait a week and then you're like, oh, by the way, the animal was dead when I picked it up, then I'm like,
No.
Do you have a video that's time stamped? I don't know. Like, I'm gonna need.
Go pound sand at that rate.
I've never had this happen, but
Yes.
So I wanted to get one more question for. Okay, Blaze. Do you feel like the reptile sale, all the reptile sailors are on? Okay, no, that's not what I thought it said. Sorry, I thought that was a question. It was a statement.
So Caring has a question there. Do you
Okay.
think that everybody should be required to send to hubs?
Yes.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yes. No home deliveries. You don't know what's happening to that animal on that truck while he's driving around doing all these deliveries, and you don't know if you're last on that list.
And there's no
That's
insurance.
my opinion. Yeah, and
See, I had
100%.
I had
know
one
we all
snake
answered
ship.
that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. We're still on that question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I
Ladies
know we
first.
all answered that, but I thought this was a good one. And Blaze, I'm putting you on the spot with this. What do you recommend for a first snake? They live in Australia.
Ball python.
Ball python.
Anything that's not poisonous or venomous.
Ball python. Ball
Anything
python.
that's not venomous.
Hit up Cheever. Hit up Cheever.
I'm like, Australia has some like very specific reptile laws too that I don't know what they
Yeah.
are.
Do they?
specifically, so
Are they allowed to have ball pythons?
So
Yeah.
my actual thing on that would be any snake you want that you can take care of.
Yeah.
And can legally own.
and can legally own, or that you can keep a secret.
Well, it's a commitment. It's no
Yeah.
different than having a kid.
Like I got an alligator in the bathtub right here. Yeah, no, I'm just playing.
Oh, they're legal.
I'm like, you better be texting me a picture of that after this. I need to
The
see
damn
it.
thing ate the rubber ducky again. I need another one.
Where'd my soap go?
So I'm gonna start wrapping us up here. We're gonna be I don't know if all these guys are gonna join or who's gonna be with us next week. There's gonna be maybe some other people, maybe some of the same,
Come
you
on.
know. So next week, I'm gonna do it at the same time. It's Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 8 Central, which is 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific.
Yes.
I'm learning my time zones real quick doing this.
I am too.
Somebody give her a
So
golden
next
star.
week- So next week, the topic of conversation will be on the spider ball python. So it's a little bit of a controversial topic for some people. What we're going to be doing is having people come on to talk about their experiences breeding it, what things they've seen, like positive things they've seen, maybe some negative things they've seen. I'm going to pull up some of the recent articles on that of the stuff with the inner ear versus neurological issues, because there's been some research on that I think is important to go over and discuss. And what I'm looking for, so if you're in the comments or you guys are here, I'm looking for both people that have great experience where they're breeding spiders, they're not seeing wobble, things are going great. And I'm also looking for people who have had negative experiences. We're not
Looks like
looking
I'm stuck.
like
I'm
I
stuck.
don't want to have a screaming match. I don't want to have a like
No,
debate
just
back and
discuss
forth.
it
I
like we
wanna
did tonight.
Discuss it like we did tonight.
And,
What?
and just to clear up all the questions in the comments, this is not an April Fool's. It's actually going to be that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually on the spider morph.
I'm like,
It's the
wow.
same for fools.
Or all the related ones. Hidden Gene Woma,
Yeah,
Champagne,
champagne, all
Hot
those.
Nose.
I think that might be a good thing to
Bongo.
do. We could do the whole spider complex or related ones. Like we can touch on all of those. Yeah, and
Oh.
JS, you're going to be there next week, right? So we're going to have a mix of people, and explore that, and then we'll pick the topic for the week after that. At that point,
And I get to show you what happens when you do an accidental pairing.
mhm.
Me too.
We do a live on husbandry. Yes, Viper. I think that would be a great one to do a live
We can
on
do that.
husbandry. So I'll start getting that one in the work too, where it's
Hey, everyone keeps on their own, and as long as you're successful, you know what I'm saying? Let's share that with the community.
Yeah, because we all have different ways of keeping them, and I think that's a benefit for people to see. Like, this is how I do it. This is how someone else does it. They're both doing positive things. Can we do a live
And
on lizards and monitors? So I have blue tongue skinks, and that's really all that I can speak on those. So I
I
would
have a
I
love
can't really
tegu.
do those either.
if we have people that are keeping
We breed
lizards
cresteds.
and have a lot of information, I'm happy to host it, but I'm going to have limited information just sharing it.
You got any pairs for me yet, Cheever?
I got a bunch of eggs. When they hatch out, you can get babies. Depending on what pops out, there might be a lot that are staying.
I've got
Right.
a 1.2 breeding pair of pink, what do they call them? Pink Panthers? I think so. Coming my way. A guy hit me up today. He wants to trade the 1.2 pair for one of my spot nose babies.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm about to. I changed my name. I don't know if people noticed, but I changed to exotics from ball pythons because I'm going to get into a little bit more stuff on a learning basis, not a heavy jump right
Breeding.
in, kill it, breeding thing. This is all a learning process for me. The goal is by this time next year to have bred cresteds, leopards, and um, bearded dragons
Nice.
as a learning thing, not as a business model or anything like that. But what I do breed will probably be for sale. So
So,
okay, I'll shut up. I
before
pitched myself enough.
no,
I'll get out of here.
no, please always pitch yourself. I was about to pitch everyone here. So before we jump off of here, please, everyone in the comments, go ahead and drop every single one of these guys a follow. This is a great group of breeders. Everyone's working on different things and at different levels of their journey. I see a lot of people that come into my lives asking for pieds. I never do pieds. Tons of these guys do pieds, bells, bananas, all kinds of stuff that you might be looking for. And everyone does stuff a little bit differently. Always get to know like your breeder first before picking your animal. So please give them a follow, get to know them, decide like, hey, does this fit what I want? And go, share some business with them when you can.
Or just like future breeders coming
Absolutely.
up, they might take care of their stuff one way, and they can learn from one of us on here on how we do it and make adjustments for something that might work better
Right.
for them in the future.
Yeah.
And as far as husbandry is concerned, when you take advice from people, also take into consideration where they live too, because we're like
Yes.
what works for Stacy in Florida is not going to work for me in Missouri, which is probably not going to
Or me
work
in
for
Ohio.
Cheever way up in Nor, what
8
works
feet of
for
snow
Kinky in
lady.
California is not going to work for
Ohio.
NKSZ or me or anything. There's certain things you've got to take into consideration when you set your setups up.
Exactly. And so maybe
100%.
next week we'll do spider, and then the week after that we'll do a husbandry one. So continue touching on all these topics that are big topics that also can be controversial at times, whether or not they should be. They do become a little bit controversial, especially with husbandry. We all know that. And let people learn from multiple people all at once, take what works for them, and be able to apply it in their state, in what situation they're in. I think that's a great idea. So I'll start working on getting that one set up for the week after next, since I'm already working on the spider one for next week.
Sure.
Anyone that wants to participate in the spider live next week, please reach out to me, and I will get you added in Ozark. Okay,
I'm raising.
perfect.
I'm in.
You all? Okay, y'all are in. Okay, anyone that wants to be
I'm in.
there, I'll get you added in, and we'll just plan to do it same time, same place, same.
Great channel.
Hopefully more reptiles.
That's
Hopefully
right.
more
That's right.
Hey, weren't we calling it Midgard Morphs Roundtable? Like,
It's
weren't we calling
it's
that?
it's the round table at Midgard Castle is what it is.
I want a
Yes.
jacket.
There you go.
We're taking votes on names. Actually, someone in the comments come up with a really creative name right now of what to call this, because Pure Country would participate. Okay, perfect. Knights of the Reptile Table.
There we go. There we go.
Only a fish wound.
Just don't call me sir.
No,
How many
I'm
people
not that
are
old.
in this chat?
I am unfortunately getting old.
The rectangle.
Ish.
Okay, so we will
I'm
continue.
probably older than everybody in this live.
I think I seen dust come off your shoulder.
Yeah.
I've decided to be permanently 25 and do not ask any further details.
I'm actually
See,
35.
I'm 25 with 26 years experience.
Yeah, I have well, yeah, a few years experience. I don't want to talk about it.
I remember watching both you guys start.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. Back in my day.
Oh, don't make me
Back
sound old
in
just because
my
I have gray
day,
hair.
see?
The dude the creeper off of Family Guy.
No.
Herbert. Herbert.
Okay, this was a ton of fun, guys. I'm gonna end it here so everyone can get on with their stuff because I also know we'll do a bunch of Southern goodbyes all night long from down here. So appreciate everyone in the comments. We will see y'all next week. I'm sure they're gonna go do their own lives. Oh,
You guys want to get a quick preview for those that are going to tune in for the spider gene?
Yes, let's get a quick
You're going to
preview.
see on it right here is we're going to be talking about that right there. That is your true neurological or inner ear issue.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yep. So
That's a great place to end. And and then the alternative view.
This was my accident. I'll explain it next week.
I'm so excited to get everyone on this.
This baby was my accident.
It was a whoopsie.
It was definitely a 100% a whoopsie.
Me too.
What did he say? What did he say?
I'm
No,
sorry.
I said I hate it when I have accidental babies.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually
Luckily,
a type
I've
of
never
trophy.
had that happen to me.
Yeah, either.
I've caused
but,
one. I've caused it to happen, but I've never actually had it happen to me.
Okay. Love y'all. Have a good night.
Bye. Love you.
Later.
Have a
Mark,
great
I'm gonna
one.
hop on live, so I'll send you an invite.
Okay, I'm headed over.
All right. Take it
Squirrel.
easy, guys.